Hello everyone, it's Gromit&ThomasFan01 here, and welcome to my cracking video. In 2015, it was a big year for one of Aardman's popular franchises, Shaun the Sheep. First up, we have his first full-length feature film, which was titled Shaun the Sheep Movie, which proved to be very successful for the brand. It also proved that Shaun's adventures can be expanded rather than sticking to his 7-minute episodes. There was also his public art trails called Shaun in the City, organised by the Grand Appeal and Wallace and Gromit's children's charity. It featured 2 trails, one in London and the other in Bristol, and featured many sculptures of Shaun the Sheep. Yes indeed, 2015 was an exciting time to be a Shaun the Sheep fan. But also in the same year, Shaun featured in his first ever half-hour special, and that special was called The Farmer's Llamas. Shaun the Sheep, The Farmer's Llamas was directed by Jay Grace and was written by Lee Pressman, Nick Vincent Murphy and Richard Starzak. So with this being Shaun the Sheep's first half-hour special, is it a Baa-Rilliant short film or is it just as troublesome as the Llamas? Well, let's take a look at the story and find out. It is a sunny day at Mossy Bottom Farm, and the farmer and Bitzer, both voiced by John Sparks, have entered their cake for a cake competition at a country fair. Shaun, voiced by Justin Fletcher, accidentally ends up at the country fair with them and discovers a trio of troublesome llamas named Hector, Fernando and Raul, who are all up for auction at the country show. Shaun ends up tricking the farmer into buying the llamas by one of his mischievous tricks. When he, the farmer, Bitzer and the llamas arrive back at Mossy Bottom, Shaun insists to the flock that the llamas are just what they need to bring a bit of fun to the farm. But when the llamas prove to cause too much mischief, it falls to Shaun to get rid of them and restore order to the farm, or Mossy Bottom may never be the same again. So what do I think of Shaun's half-hour special? Well, to be honest, not very good in my opinion. This is probably one of my least favourite Aardman and Shaun the Sheep productions. The story feels very weak. It just feels like there is not enough story to keep the audience engaged. Sure, there are some good parts, like the auction scenes and when the llamas are on screen, but it just feels that some of the ideas could have been expanded upon to give this short more of an interesting story. With the Wallace and Gromit shorts, part of its charm was they feel like feature-length movies in their own right, with its incredible cinematography, engaging plot, and a fantastic soundtrack that also fits so well in the half-hour running time. In The Farmer's Llamas, some of the elements that I've mentioned are lost in here. The cinematography is a bit basic, the plot feels very weak, and the soundtrack doesn't sound as good as the other Aardman films. With this being a longer running time, you need a plot that feels like it has some feature-length film standards to keep you on the edge of your seat and for it to sustain for half an hour. It needs to have some peril, action and all of the emotional range to go into a 30-minute story. The short has a little bit of that, but sadly, I feel that The Farmer's Llamas doesn't have enough of the 3 points that I've mentioned, as the story feels a bit flat in my opinion. This film feels more like an extended episode rather than an epic half-hour film. If this short had half of its material cut out and it been shortened to 15 minutes, then I think it could have worked. The Shaun the Sheep episodes are normally 7 minutes, so if The Farmer's Llamas was about 15 minutes, then I think it would have worked better rather than it being 30 minutes. The soundtrack is a big letdown as well for me. When the film was being promoted on social media, I was hoping that they would use a real-life orchestra, but instead they used the same sort of instruments in the TV series. I just wish that Mark Thomas used a proper orchestra As with a film that lasts 30 minutes, you need an orchestra to carry the weight and the energy of the film going, especially for Shaun the Sheep, as the series has no dialogue whatsoever. It doesn't feel as grand like the music in Farmageddon or The Flight Before Christmas for that matter. But despite these bad points, there are a few decent points about it that I like about this special. For example, I absolutely love the llamas in this short, as they are certainly a highlight for me. Hector, Fernando and Raul are just such fantastic troublemakers and the perfect challenge for Shaun. Obviously, Shaun is always the one who loves mischief, but the llamas are on a whole different level for causing trouble, as sometimes their mischief can be taken too far. Personally, I love that difference between Shaun and the llamas. It just feels like fantastic writing from the writers for this short, showing that too much mischief can sometimes be a bad thing. As we all know, Shaun loves causing trouble, so for him to learn this lesson is a perfect message for a Shaun the Sheep story, because it stays true to Shaun's character. I also think that the designs on the llamas are fantastic too. I love how they are similar, but also different to the designs of the sheep. The similarities being that they are made of wool, and the difference being that they are much taller animals. It's just a brilliant idea to pair the llamas with the sheep, especially as they're also different in personalities as well. But as always, the character animation is always a standout, particularly for Shaun the Sheep, as the characters communicate through their sounds, body language and facial expressions. I have always loved how the Shaun series can be accessible for everyone because of having no dialogue. It is so universal, and this short, while the story is weak, it can still be played in every part of the world and you can still understand exactly what the characters are thinking. So all in all, while The Farmer's Llamas is a weak entry to the Shaun the Sheep series and is also my least favourite Aardman production, it still has some decent stuff in here that fans of the show might get some enjoyment out of it. Its animation is as always fantastic, it has a perfect message for a Shaun the Sheep film, and the llamas are some of the best characters to be introduced to the series too. So what do you think of The Farmer's Llamas? Do you think it's great for Shaun the Sheep's first half-hour special? Let me know in the comments section below of this video and tell me what you think. I'm Gromit&ThomasFan01, and I hope you enjoyed the video.